Good morning. The symposium organizers have asked me as a stroke victim to say a few words about my experiences in the last year. Bit of background. I've just had my 80th birthday, but up to my stroke, I was a healthy, active senior. Uh, I'm retired, live with my wife in Sudbury, and um, my first episode was in March of 2022. I was in Bracebridge on a visiting and looking after grandkids, and I was on a bit of a snow machine trip in the evening, and I had um, uh, a situation come up. I suddenly became very weak. I struggled to focus. I was having a hard time controlling the machine. And the group I was with, we got to a restaurant, and I knew something serious was happening. Thought it was probably a stroke. We uh, the chaps with me were able to get an ambulance right away. I was brought into the Bracebridge Hospital, but it was weird. I presented like I was impaired, and however, I'd had one can of beer in the previous 24 hours, so it certainly wasn't it wasn't a substance situation. In any event, I was examined. I had a CAT scan. With contrast, it really didn't show anything. And after a number of hours, I kind of came around, and the physician was quite concerned, but gave me the details and sent me home with instructions to see my family doctor as soon as I got back to Sudbury. Met with my family doctor on the 14th of March, and he immediately referred me to the stroke prevention clinic in Sudbury. On March 17th, Dr. Singh met with me, ordered an MRI, and another CAT scan. I was put on blood thinners, etc. And again, the imaging didn't reveal, a lot of damage. April 9th, I awoke here in Sudbury early in the morning, and my arm was dangling, and I had a droop to my face, and my leg was numb and not very responsive. Fortunately, my wife was able to get an ambulance right away. They were excellent. The Certainly gave me confidence as a patient, and I was into the hospital within minutes. Uh, the attending physician, the emerge physician, assessed me. The decision was made not to give me a clot buster because of the time frame. They didn't know when the stroke had happened. It happened during the night in my sleep, and so after a relatively short time, I was assessed as needing to have further care. So I was admitted to the stroke floor, and I gotta say, I was well cared for, looked after right away. Within a day, I saw Dr. Graham, and I also saw a physio, and the decision was made to admit me to the geriatric rehab section of the hospital. I was there for 2 weeks, from the 11th of April till the 22nd. During that period of time, I had access to a myriad of support people, including OT and physio. I think I spoke to speech therapy and a couple of other people, but really I didn't have issues in that department. So that opportunity was there, but I didn't need that support. While I was in rehab, I was assessed for my driving skills, and a number of tests were taken. But the final analysis was that I was seen to be well enough to come home and do my physio and so on and so forth, my exercises on my own. We also live in a bungalow, so our home situation loaned itself to being somewhat handicapped. I was very healthy, did a lot of things last summer, rode my motorcycle to Montreal, but it was a three-wheeler. And but October the 7th, Friday night of Thanksgiving weekend, I was outside in the garage. It was cold, and I was putzing. And all of a sudden, my wife called me. I came in, and I really had lost an hour or two. I thought I'd been out there maybe 15 minutes, but something definitely was going wrong, and I had no memory. And again, immediately, the ambulance was called, and they got me to the hospital. I was again assessed, and really by that point I was coming around, and my daughter came in and we chatted, and Friday night it was busy, and so in any event I did have another CAT scan done that night, and without contrast, and the decision was made to send me home early in the morning. And my family physician called the next day and made arrangements for me to get in and have a second CAT scan, because he wanted to see the contrast of the two. And he also ordered an MRI. Moving forward, there really wasn't a lot of damage again shown in the CAT scan. I was to see the neurologist on early November, and so I didn't really do anything. I didn't push from my end, and because I was seeing Dr. Singh, but I really wasn't feeling well, and I was kind of going through a flu at the same time. So, you had all kinds of different symptoms sort of clouding the issue. But in any event, my mobility really deteriorated, and when I saw Dr. Singh early November, he immediately followed up on the MRI, found out it hadn't been a high priority, and he had me in for the MRI the next morning, and there was damage, and there had been another stroke. He immediately got me into outpatient rehab, and made arrangements with the vascular surgeon be able to examine me, test me, and that was done within about 3 weeks. I was in, had ultrasound, was assessed, And Dr. Willoughby decided that felt that it was best to do the carotid artery, and so and that's coming up this next week. In the interim, physio has been quite helpful to me. I was suffering from some paralysis in my leg and foot, and a little bit of drop foot, and that's starting to come back. And I credit physio for that, because it's been very, very helpful to me. And um, um, that's sort of the end of my journey. If I were to make any recommendations, I think patients have to be on top of their own situation too. And there was a bit of a lapse, and I didn't follow it up, but there were circumstances. But really, it's had I been quicker, I may have been into post incident treatment earlier, but nothing really lost. The other comment I would like to make is that the stroke handybook, that's my journey about stroke, should be given to patients the minute they get in, and they're encouraged to read that, because there's so much good information on it, especially to the layman. Overall, I have to give a thumbs up to the whole system, and from my observation, your team is doing a great job. Thanks very much, and I really appreciate what's been done.